and gentlemen, Dana White. Why did you agree, Dana, to come out here? This guy came out here, just popped up. He's heard about it. Kerry cased him in the back, said, Dana, you got to come see this thing. Why did you decide just to pop up on the stage?
You know, I love interacting with people, but I love telling the story, and I love inspiring people, and I love, you know, if you can tell your story, how you did it, and it helps two people.
Good audience, huh?
You know, sometimes it's that little nudge. It's that thing. Everybody's afraid of change, and everybody's afraid to take a risk, right? Let me tell you this story real quick. We were just talking about in the back. So we bought this thing for $2 million, right? And I'm sure many of you know the story, but for those of you that don't, we sold 4 years ago for $4.025 billion.
You gotta love that. Big.
So the guys, everybody that was coming in and bidding on the company, you know, the one deal breaker was if I left. So they all wanted me to stay and continue to run the business. And I'm 50. You know, what am I going to do? And listen, everybody dreams about vacations and retiring, and I hate 3-day weekends, okay? I hate 3-day weekends, man. If I go somewhere on vacation, I can't wait to get back to work. That's how much I love this. So there's no way that I was going to leave anyway. So I stayed. And, you know, Ari, the guy who put the deal together to come in and buy it for $4.025 billion, leveraged everything. Now this guy, how many of you people have watched Entourage before? You know Entourage? So the character Ari Amand, that's him. That's the guy who came in and bought it. He is as much a lunatic as he was on the show. So you can imagine, this guy came in and leveraged everything he had. He was going up against Disney. He was going up against Turner. He was going up against all these massive companies. So he went to KKR, you know, big hedge fund group, and a lot of other people, Dell, all these guys, raised as much money as he could from them, then leveraged he leveraged his Hollywood agency business, right, Endeavor. He owned WME-IMG, he leveraged that, and he took every ounce of cash that he had saved throughout the years. Everything.
He's shaking every account he has. You guys understand what he's saying? No matter how rich you are, when you go for it, you're gonna be grabbing everything from everywhere. Like billionaires go broke.
100%.
Right.
So this thing fails, he's beyond done. He's destroyed if this thing doesn't work. Now, everything you do in your life, you know it now. It doesn't matter if you're broke, you're rich, or whatever. There's always negativity. Always negativity. My buddy, when I walked out the door, said, "You're an idiot," right? There's always negativity. It only gets worse the bigger you get, trust me. So he leverages this thing and he buys it for $4.025 billion. All the genius media people out there and all the critics, everybody are smashing him, telling him he blew it. What a bad idea. He overpaid for this thing. The UFC really isn't that big of a sport. And if it is, it's peaked. Every negative thing you can say about it, right? And I don't know if this isn't disclosed on how much we did, but let me just tell you this.
Hey, raise your right hand and say, I promise not to tell anybody.
Yeah. Let me just tell you this. This was 4 years ago. The company's worth $9 billion now. But you're talking about a guy who believed in this thing, believed in his own abilities and what he could do, and did it. And he did it. He leveraged everything he had, and he did it. Those are the people that you hear about that are successful. And you want to look, and some people dismiss it and say, well, he was already rich, and he was already this, and already that. He was that close to being smashed and being completely broke. He took a risk. He took a shot. And my point is, don't be afraid to take a shot. Whatever you do right now for a living, wherever you work, you can go back and do it. If shit doesn't work, go do that again. Here's what you can't do. You can't miss that opportunity, and later on in life, nobody in this room wants to be in their deathbed going, I shoulda. Nobody wants to say I shoulda. The worst thing that can happen is it doesn't work and you go back to what you're doing now, you know? And when you fail, when it doesn't work out, you're gonna learn a lot from that. Maybe it wasn't what you really wanted to do. Maybe it really wasn't your passion, or you made a couple of mistakes. You build yourself back up and you go for it again, you know? Telling you. My story from 2 million to 4 billion sounds awesome up here on stage, but the last 20 years I've been grinding. Good things happen, bad things happen. We were losing lots of money at one point. We took some shots and we made it work. You know, you have to get up and you have to keep fighting. There's a story, I'll tell if you guys don't know it, but one day Lorenzo, the guy that put up the money to buy this thing with me, calls me one day and says, I can't keep funding this thing. We were like 30 million in the hole after the 2 million. He says, Dana, I can't keep funding this thing. Go out and find out what we could sell this thing for right now. I start making phone calls. At the end of the day, I call him back and I'm like, 6, 7 million, Lorenzo, right? They're 30-something million in. He says, all right, I'll call you tomorrow. And I'm thinking it's over. These guys are done funding this thing. It's over. And Lorenzo calls me the next morning and says, fuck it. Let's keep going.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dana White.
Thank you.
Come on!